have to be very quiet because it's midnight and I have been told that I have a very loud voice. So I don't know how this is going to come out. But I like to be respectful of this guy upstairs because he's a good dude, at least as far as I know. And all I know about him is his name and that he's very quiet. But I thought this might help me sleep. I don't remember when the last time I was on here before, but I know um, last Tuesday night I woke up at 2 a.m. and my sleep has been disrupted ever since. And I had Tuesday I lifted weights, walked around. Wednesday I lifted weights and walked around. I didn't sleep right either night. And then Thursday, my friend woke me up and asked me to go fishing. And I said, give me about an hour. I knew the weather was going to turn evil around here and it was going to be rainy and cold. So after about an hour, I called him back and I agreed to go fishing, which I didn't particularly enjoy. But my brother caught a huge fish, but I had forgot to set my phone up to where it's bright enough to where I can see it outside and it's ready to go as far as taking a video, which was a shame because the fish jumped like 5 times. It like was jumping right in front of me. It was going bonkers, but it was like 6.5 pound bass. I picked it up and I was like expecting it to weigh less, and I was like, whoa. My hand actually went down a little bit. It was like in the Juggernauts territory, which is a big bass for up here near the Canadian border. But anyways, yeah, I'm having a rough time, as you could probably guess, since it's like dark and it's not morning, and I'm complaining about not being able to sleep and whatnot. And sometimes this helps me. Uh, I don't know. It makes me sleepy actually. If I talk long enough on here and then listen to my boring self, I will go to sleep because I have to listen. I have to go back and listen to what I say to make sure that I don't put anything too objectionable on the air because I don't really pay attention at the time that I'm saying what I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm laying like this because I got like a bad stiff neck and I have to kind of lay flat or flattish. And what I was starting to say before I got into that fishing trip a little bit was, well, basically, I did physical stuff for 3 days. My leg collapsed a couple of times on the fishing trip, like buckled. Not that I was walking around that much. I mostly just sat on the scooter and tooled around the pond. But on the way in, I noticed it buckled, and then like my knee was grotesquely swollen for a couple of days. And then these last couple of days, I'm just kind of I don't know what to do. I mean, if I work with it, it's bad. If I don't work with it, it's bad. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. So, uh, yeah, laying around doing nothing just makes you feel helpless, though. It makes you feel like there's nothing to do, and it's just it's horribly depressing. And I did get my card for my GoPro style camera in the mail, but I haven't done anything with it. My cat's teeth are apparently so bad that I have to buy him pate food, which he hates. I buy him like shredded cat food, but he can't really eat it without difficulty. He should be put down, really. But I'm going to have the aid worker tomorrow um, for something to do, like run and get him a couple of cans of pate cat food, which is like old people food, which Global Meals sent me. Either Global Meals, probably Meals on Wheels sent me food for somebody else that was just like, it was basically turkey pudding. It was like pureed turkey. And I was like, man, this is gross. And I threw it out the window. And the cats outside loved it. I think my cat might have been one of the cats outside at that point. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. Since the last video and this video, been pretty sucky, and it just sucks. I put out effort and I do stuff that's like difficult for me, like lift weights and walk around, and then like I don't know, go fishing. And it's like we didn't stay that long, and I didn't catch any. I just wanted. My goal was to catch like a 12-inch bass, which weighs, generally speaking, about a pound, and I couldn't. I couldn't even do that, so I wasn't. I was starting to hurt, and I had taken mm, 3 gabapentin before I left, and they kicked in, and I felt really bad while I was there. Because sometimes, you get that washed out feeling from painkillers. And yeah, everything just kind of sucks at the moment. So naturally, I decided to talk about it because share the wealth, share the misery. Now, sometimes, like I said, this helps me sleep, and I don't know how. It's really hard to sleep when you're in a lot of neurogenic pain. And I found out like what's been making me get sick, and it's like gabapentin. It's pretty much. I notice like every time that I take 300 milligrams, like I did a little while ago, and which haven't kicked in yet. But if I take 400 milligrams, like I had nothing in my stomach a couple of days ago, and I took 400 milligrams, and yeah, I mean, I was like almost, I was dry heaving. It's like something weird about this. It has to be like that medication doesn't agree with me. I don't know. My stomach's like messed up a lot nowadays. It's like everything sucks. I had a conversation with my brother about him being the executor of my will, and in case things continue to get worse, which he just listened to. You never. He's like afraid to say he. My family thinks I'm irrational, which is what naturally what irrational people would think about somebody that's rational. So you know, whenever I talk about anything that's a touchy subject, he just clams up because he's afraid I will excommunicate him. And I told him like a couple of times, like, no, if you ever hear me like crying and breaking down and then you're mean to me, I might excommunicate you. Or if you're like my foster brother and you dick me over like a million times in a row and break promises to me a million times in a row, then I just get sick of you. And then like mm, you cop an attitude with me because your nephew that's living in the building with me 24/7 happens to go your way and shows up at your house and gives your mom a hard time for like 20 minutes. And yeah, you forget the fact that he's living in the building with me like all the time, and I got to put up with that like all the time. And that shows me how little you care about me. Yeah, I might excommunicate you. I watch the neck gestures. That shit really hurts. I dozed off a little bit in the afternoon, which is uncool. I think that's what sealed the deal as far as the neck thing. Um, yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do, man. My leg got was just ridiculous. It's getting back to like normal, but the left leg hurts. The leg that's all swollen up is tolerable. So I either get it from one side or the other side or both. So yeah, so I had that conversation with my brother. I was like, we can just do it unofficially. If there's no written will, it's just up to the family to divide things, and I'll just write a note. The family will honor it. I'll just write a note and give you the. Should work. I mean, I don't think our folks had any will. Nobody fought over anything. No, our folks didn't have any will because yeah, there was some. They have a valuable piece of land and a house, and when they both died in the same year, everybody, you know, in the family decided that my brother should have the house because he took care of my mom and my dad a little bit until they put him in a nursing home until the last. So everybody felt like he earned the house, which is one of the more reasonable things that they did. But anyways, yeah, I'll just give him like the PIN to my bank card, and you know, just tell him like he's in charge of my possessions. He divvy them out however he sees fit, even if my guitars go, you know, on the auction block or end up at my foster brother who plays guitar. I never, a little bit of water never hurt nobody. I never put it on camera, but I bought my foster brother this cool decolletage guitar that had all the Universal Monsters on there because he had some kind of weird thing in his head. Which, you know, people got to come up with weird ideas to get tattoos all over their body. But he had like has like a vitiligo on his hands anyway, and he was like, well, I might as well get a tattoo over top of the vitiligo. So he had like the Wolfman, Frankenstein, all the Universal Monsters, the Mummy and stuff. So I just was scrolling on the internet one day and I came across this guitar with this, there's a form of sort of like paper mache, like an art form called a decolletage, I think. And it had all the Universal Monsters on there, including Lon Chaney Sr. from London After Midnight, the Lost film. So he's, you know, and the guitar was all beat up. And, you know, I just got it for him as a wall hanger, what they call a wall hanger, a non functional guitar that's basically a knickknack. I paid like, I don't know, less than $100 for it, somewhere between $65 and $80. And because it basically had no frets on it, the frets were hammered down flat. Nobody else thought it was cool, but I thought it was cool. And he tricked it all out and plays it now. Plus, he's got my one of my effects boards that I bought. I don't know what else he has mine, but you know, I don't care if he gets my guitar. If yeah, if this continues to go south, I don't know. I don't really have much faith in the medical community as far as doing anything for me other than doping me up, and that's no way to go anyway. As far as like being all doped up. And I was thinking of something the other day. It's like a couple of guys said this that were baseball players, Johnny Bench and Joe DiMaggio. It's like they got too racked up and too injured, so they retired from baseball. And they retired from baseball because they said they couldn't be Joe DiMaggio or Johnny Bench anymore. I didn't know Johnny Bench said that. I just watched a documentary about him, but he was like, that's why he retired from baseball. He's like, I had like over 13 surgeries, and my body couldn't take it anymore, and I couldn't be Johnny Bench anymore. But they expect people that are all messed up physically to be whoever they are right until the bitter end, even if that's not them anymore. You get so messed up, you feel like it's not you anymore. You know, it's like the guy that is me is like gone. I can't be me anymore. I can't. You know, I don't play guitar anymore. I don't walk around anymore. I don't fish anymore. I don't do any of the things that define me except for talk. You know, I always was a talker, and maybe that's not enough. And even with the talking thing, is my mind is not sharp anymore. So, you know, which is not to say that I'm giving up. It's just like you have to be prepared for certain eventualities if you have a degenerative disease. So, like, I was going to write him in a letter, but I talked to him about it. He didn't say much about it, but he's afraid of me. It's like my family's afraid of me and I'm afraid of them. That's how I wrote. I never would have seen that coming either. But, yeah, you know, I got to set the alarm for 10 o'clock in the morning because aid worker's coming over. She's got 75 bucks for me because she spent like $150 off the food card. They did put, I figured out exactly how much I get, which is $234 in EBT credits. So, 33 is my standard total that I'm supposed to get, and then the 201 is the COVID supplement. But they didn't put that on my card until the 28th. Then on the same day, It was the day after she got her tooth pulled. My aid worker, or two teeth pulled. My aid worker spent money off of my card, and so she'll show up here, and you know, I don't know if she knows that or not, but she was like, "Well, I can call up the number on your card and ask." And I've been doing that like the whole time, you know. I I don't. I should get the full number off of the card, but they always ask for just the last four digits and then your code. So yeah, I don't know if I lost any weight, but I've taken to a little bit of starvation, a little bit of eating less, and yeah, I'm kind of concerned about like the volume intake thing, which it's not that I'm taking a lot of volume. It's like it's dawning on me on how time flies and how like at some point, you know, I don't know how much of my suffering I can attribute to reduced volume intake, but at some point that volume supply is gonna run low. You know, it's like um, you don't think about these things, but they seem so far off in the future. But at some point, yeah, this is going to become a real thing. You may have hair growing out of your ears, which I don't, but my foster brother does. He's like, wait till you have hair growing out of your ears. I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. Hasn't happened yet. It may. I don't know. But anyways, these eventualities that we think are so far in the future, they are going to come around. So, you know, um, yeah, it's best to be prepared for them. I'm not exactly sure what that pertained to, but anyways, I got to set the alarm for 10 o'clock a.m. tomorrow, and I got to wake up. And I'm hoping to get to sleep by, I don't know, dawn. That's all I'm hoping for. I got up at 2 in the afternoon or thereabouts, and then I thought that was pretty good considering that I went to sleep well after dawn. I don't know, like 9 or 10 in the morning. I was like, well, I only slept for a little while, but I dozed, which is not cool. I didn't doze for very long, but you know, it makes a difference. Them little tiny, they're power naps if they help you, make you sharp, but they're pain in the ass naps if you want to go back to sleeping on a regular schedule. But that'll just happen periodically. Is I'll just wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and not be able to go back to sleep. It's a chronic pain thing. There's nothing I can do about it. Um, yeah, so I watched a movie and I was starting to watch another movie and I'm like, well, I can do this instead. Maybe somebody will get something out of this, or maybe it'll help me sleep. I'm using my mind, whether you know, a little bit, not a lot, but I am using my mind and I'm doing something. So, like I said, this makes me sleepy sometimes. Sometimes I'll go back and I'll, you know, sort of proofread it, just check it over, and I'll make it about halfway through and I'll be asleep and I'm like, oh, I made a good sleeping pill for someone, at least. Yeah, my throat feels kind of sore, but you know, I got that new problem. It's like I don't need any more problems. Something else happened I don't really want to talk about, but something else physical happened. That's a new thing that was kind of alarming, and I don't really want to talk about it. That's what I told my brother, and he just about guessed it. And I was like, okay. I didn't even tell him the whole thing, so it's like, yeah, you know, just I got problems. And I come by my problems honest. It's the sad part of the whole deal is, like I said, is like I was too at peace with myself. It's like I didn't care about money. I didn't care about anything. I was just always been kind of at peace with myself. And I never really, if I had like three hots and a cot, I was cool. I need a little bit of entertainment. Occasionally, I would feel like a vague yearning, like I should be doing something, you know. And of course, I would get lonely here and there, but mostly content. And that contentment kind of shot me in the foot because I didn't realize that I would be needing money to pay doctors. Because if you don't have money and you don't have good insurance, they're not going to help you. If you're a high risk kind of dude, I think I need a new water jug. I'll have to write that down. Buy me the cheapest jug that you can find and pour the juice out of it. It's actually cheaper to buy a bottle of juice about this big and pour the juice out and not drink it and then use it for water jug than to buy an actual water jug. So that's what I told this one aid worker to do. But you know, these things are hard to clean, and this thing's looking kind of grody. I took an extra long drink so you could hear the train in the background for ambiance. But I drank out of a stream that ran underneath a road before when I forgot to bring water on a very long bike ride to go fishing. I realized I was not going to make it home without being dehydrated because it was going to be hotter on the way home than it was there, and I had like a 6 mile bike ride ahead of me, a minimum 6 miles, maybe eight, and there was going to be hills involved in the kind of exertion I can only fantasize about now. And I was like, you know what? I better take my minnow can because there was this pool of water underneath this road. There was a minnow pool in this stream, and the stream actually ran underneath Everhard Road, um, not too far from Belden Village Shopping Center, and I don't know even know what city that's in. But anyways, not important unless you live in Ohio. Uh, and the stream actually, I don't know where it started at now that I think about it, but it ran underneath this road and it made like a big minnow pool. And then you pulled over on the side of this road, Wackerly Drive, in case you want to do some trespassing. Um, and there was like a concrete wall, and you actually could sit on the concrete wall and you could fish there and catch minnows for bait and then walk them. They're almost like in walking distance, but you'd hop on the bike with your, you know, container with minnows in it and go fishing. Then occasionally we'd run out of bait and actually would walk back. It's that close to the place we were going fishing at because the stream would run underneath Everhard Road and then down over a spillway. I know actually the pond ran into, that's maybe where the stream came from. The pond had this like spillway that ran down and then it was connected to this stream. Okay. Now I remember. That's sad. Anyways, I got thirsty, and believe me, that was worse than drinking out of that. What I just drank out of, because that was the can that I had used to dip water for to get minnows. Because you just can't catch minnows and stick them in your pocket. You have to have water. So I would bring a coffee can, punch holes in the coffee can, and then put a string on there with a loop, and throw the can down in the water and pull up water, pour it into another container, catch a minnow, throw it in there, and then take it down to the pond. It was a whole thing. It was a lot of fun. But anyways, I neglected. I had money on me, and I used to buy like Gatorade when I would go, and had like a couple of bottles of Gatorade on me amongst my gear on a bicycle when I would go fishing. But that day, for whatever reason, I forgot to buy the Gatorade. And I got there, and I got thirsty while I was fishing. I realized, oh, this ain't good. And I finished fishing, and was like, well, I don't know if I can make it home without drinking something. I wonder what will happen if I drink this water in this pool that's underneath a culvert coming out of a road, like tepidly, or no, the water would be tepid. I timidly sipped on the water, and then I was like, what am I thinking? In for a penny, in for a pound. And then I like glugged this water out of this coffee can that I just got done throwing down in this minnow pool. I feel like I don't add enough details in my stories. The minnow pool was a ways down, and you couldn't reach it just by, the banks were steep, and they were brushy, and you couldn't reach it very easily by walking down the sides of it. So you would sit on this uh, concrete culvert, basically flat surface. Hang your feet over the edge and fish down. I don't know how far down it would be. Not that far. Not more than 10 feet down. Anyways, mm, fond memories for sure. I don't know what to do with this stiff neck nonsense, but I got like all kind of problems on top of the other problems that I have that I didn't have before, like this upchucking thing, and then this other thing that's more seems more serious. Then like I don't know what to do with like I'm like a damned if you do, damned if you don't exercise thing. Where like if I exercise, it seems to aggravate the fuck out of my legs, and my legs swell up and they hurt, and I'm miserable. If I don't exercise, I'm going to get weaker. I need to exercise for my heart and also to speed up my metabolism to lose weight. But it doesn't seem like, yeah, if I do exercise and I have to be real careful of my heart. It's a whole thing. It's like, ugh, it's just too much stuff. And anybody wouldn't want to opt out of it. Uh, but like I was starting to say, or I may have already said that I was almost like too at peace in the past, so I wasn't prepared for the future. I did not foresee like the disease progressing the way it did because it held serve for so long. From it did not really. It actually improved once I taught myself how to walk and stuff. Yeah, you know, I originally contracted the disease in 1986, and then by the time it was like 1989, I was delivering like 1,000 newspapers a week. Of course, I was around, I don't know, 20 years old, so I was young and had lots of energy, but it's in good enough shape to do that. And I don't remember being particularly miserable. I still had, still had to self catheterize and still had a lot of problems and erratic bowels and stuff like that, other symptoms of the disease. But, I was strong. I could walk for miles. I could bike for miles. I could drink tainted water out of roadside pools and survive and not get dysentery and ride home 8 miles on a bicycle. And yeah, and so like from 1990 all the way from 2003, I was pretty much the same. I just kind of thought like, because the disease is unpredictable, it can go into remission for people just spontaneously. It can be knocked into remission. It has 3 stages. It's a weird freaking disease. It's not predictable. So I didn't really foresee myself getting worse. And then 2003, I had this major conflict with my dad where I didn't speak to him for the last 13 years, 12 or 13 years of his life. He died. Didn't speak to him from 2003 to 2015. So, and I noticed like, okay, after I had this crazy emotional conflict that put me in this horrible situation, uh, my disease got worse. And I'm like, almost within a year of the conflict with my dad is when I had my first bout of arrhythmia, and then I was good for 10 years, and then I had my second bout of arrhythmia um, in like 2013. I know my mom was still alive, and I was going through like this weird uh, period of time where, due to a really fucked up situation, it's like I couldn't really see my mom without seeing my dad, and there's a whole family secret that needed kept, and all this nonsense, it's all this madness, and so my disease got worse, and then I had this weird leg thing crop up. I don't know, 2014. I don't know, 2015. Who knows when it cropped up? I don't remember, but I definitely had it in 2017 when I had that issue with my sister, and then after I had the issue with my sister again, I got progressively worse. So I did not foresee all this family drama and nonsense and, you know, conflict and all this stuff. I mean, I was puzzling over my dad one day, and my niece was like, well, maybe he just hates you. And I was like, taken aback. I was like, why would anybody hate me? I couldn't see myself as hateable. I was like, why would he hate me? I go over and, you know, it's like, hate me for not being like, I never had any deep conversations with the man. I had no idea what his expectations for me were. To even know if I disappointed him and he hated me for being a disappointment to him by not being like more successful or whatever. Or maybe he hated the fact that, you know, I got put through the ringer and he had to like drive to hospitals and visit me in hospitals and stuff. And I was such a pain in the ass to have as a kid. I don't know, but I just remember like, why would anybody hate me? And then there was like, got a little bit more hate back and more hate back. It's like, man, maybe it does have something to do with the disease itself. Like, people will hate you for being sick. It's like, what my idea? And you're not helping by making me any sicker. But I don't know. I can't. I don't really waste my time pondering that stuff because pondering crazy is pointless. It's not. There's really no point to it. It's like I don't understand why my sister, you know, she doesn't. I know she did. She's worried. She told me that she didn't want to lose any more people after my mom died, so she made sure she wouldn't lose me by kicking me to the curb. That way, she has. I talked to psychologists and psychiatrists about this. I was like, why would she do this? And I proposed that theory to a couple of them, and they kind of like, well, that makes sense. She's taking control of the situation rather than you know being involved in your life and um, more or less like watching you suffer and die, kick you to the curb, and that way she has control of the situation. She can distance herself from you, and she can protect herself from having that experience of watching another loved one deteriorate and stuff. She can just like sever those ties. And when I would write emails to her husband, my brother-in-law, and I would say like, yeah, it makes sense, you know. When a tree's falling in the forest, you don't hang around it. You get the fuck out of the way of it. When a tree's falling in the forest, I mean, when a tree's falling in the forest, you don't like, oh, I'm gonna hang around this tree. You know, you run away from it, you get away from it, and then when it falls, it doesn't take you with it. So I kind of can understand that, you know. Um, which her daughter doesn't understand that that's probably the way she wants it. You know, it's the way it is now is probably the way she wants it because her daughter brought her around here. That's when I realized when I saw my sister for the first time in a couple of years, I realized like, oh, I still got a whole shitload of hatred for her. And I think her daughter drug her over here and you know was trying to like get us to sit down and make peace with one another or whatever. But she doesn't. Her her daughter don't understand the dynamics of the situation. Like this is what her mom wants. Whether she might not admit to herself that it's what she wants, but it's what she wants. Because I wrote her a letter telling her exactly all she had to do to fix it, and she never put any effort at all into fixing it. In her eyes, she didn't do anything wrong. So you don't have to come groveling back to me or anything like that, or even um, come back with an apology. Just admit that what you did was fucked up, and I'd be like, yeah, everybody fucks up sometimes. I mean, you don't have to say you're sorry about it, but if you just want to pretend like nothing happened, that's how I was raised. You know, it's like my dad would not talk to me for I don't know, a long time, and then he would just start talking to you, and whatever it is that made us not talk to each other. This is when I was living in the house with him growing up. We just never talked about it, never resolved the conflict, and then all that means is the same thing keep happening again and again. And it's not even, I don't, you know, there's obviously some hatred there on my part, Thank you for teaching me how to hate, by the way. But it's not even about that. It's about protecting myself at this point. It's like afraid to, people act irrationally like that and hurt you. Kind of afraid to make yourself vulnerable again. It just doesn't make any sense to. So, yeah. So it sucks living in this building. I can hear him coughing up there. Hopefully he's zonkered. I can't help it. I got a big voice, you know, trying to be quiet, but I got the deep voice. And as you know, when the cars go down the road thumping that bass carries. And, yeah, he could think that I'm talking to my brother on the phone, not talking to myself, which is basically what I'm doing. I'm talking to you, of course, but really I'm just in a room talking to myself and allowing you to listen. I mean, because it's not a conversation, it's just a monologue. Yeah, it's just me running over tired ground, a lot of it. He's really coughing. I see young people smoke too much weed. They don't realize that weed's got a heavier tar content than cigarettes. And the way these people smoke weed nowadays is crazy. And I've seen it firsthand. And, yeah. The thing about weed is like you have to lay off of it. You get like a tolerance built up to it. You have to lay off it a little bit in order to get that good buzz anyway. The more you smoke, the more you have to smoke to get the same effect. But I've known all different kind of weed smokers, the kind that are just high all the time and never sober, the wake and bakers, and the people that just smoke occasionally. My brother-in-law smoked like just enough to get a buzz, is what he'd call it, but he smoked very little, and it had a different effect on him than it had most people. It hypered him up and made him want to do stuff. Most people, it mellows them out and makes them want to eat Fritos, corn chips. It makes them want to munch on things, and occasionally makes them talkative, but not always. But anyways, so this is just another bad night in a long series of bad nights of dating pack ad infinitum. So far back into the past that I don't know. Maybe these bad nights have gone on eternally in a cycle forever. I don't know. I've had so many of them. I don't know. Like I said, I could remember having this insomnia as a kid. I hated school so much and was, you know, alienated at such an early age. Excuse me, that I couldn't. I was always separated from myself, so that means a lot. That's not a natural way for a kid to be. So that meant a lot of thinking, and a lot of worry, and a lot of fear, and a lot of sleepless nights. I always remember having trouble going to sleep before school. Usually before the first day of school, I wouldn't sleep at all. And then it would be a torture test getting through the day. Because young bodies need sleep to grow. Older people seem to need less sleep. You know? Mm. But anyways, I don't know what purpose this serves, really. But like I said, those are the things that happen. Is like I was determined to lift weights and exercise and stuff, but the body, you get a stiff neck like this. I don't know if you want to work through it. Then I just wanted to stay off my legs for a while because I had like the overhang. You could like smoke a cigarette underneath the. If you stood beside my kneecap, it would shield you from the rain. My knee was so swollen up. I was like, I don't think I have a kneecap anymore. And that's after I exercised for a couple of days and I went fishing. And uh, Friday was bad. And I remember Friday, the people that drop off my food, Global Foods or Global Meals, uh, They knocked on my door at 12:30, and luckily I woke up. But sometimes they knock on the door and just leave the food, and sometimes they knock on the door and they just keep knocking on the door and knocking on the door. And if you don't answer it, they don't leave the food. Turned out it was not a good batch of food anyway, but I'm not eating much, so it doesn't really matter. I had leftover food from before, and I had, given some of my food away from my brother, or away to my brother. So, yeah, I don't know how long this neck thing's going to go on, where it hurts to move my neck, or how that even starts, or whatever. I can try like different forms of exercise. Like, I still want to lift weights. I'll never stop trying to lift weights, but I can do, stretching, just moving around, general moving around, testing my range of motion. I used to have like a whole routine of, I incorporated some basic stretching with some yoga, whatever yoga's really hard. I got a yoga book, and I remember like, mm, I don't want to do the poses or anything like that, but I would do it. I would exercise my neck and just like roll my neck around and then back and forth from side to side. Um, Start trying to do stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have anything to talk about, of course. I mean, if you like baseball, I stumbled across like a series that was on ESPN a long time ago that was called The Bronx is Burning. That matched the story of the Son of Sam. Uh, the summer of the Son of Sam murder a guy in New York. They called him the 44 caliber killer for the time that he was killing people. They switched him to the Son of Sam like right before they caught him because he mentioned somebody named Sam. There's a story behind that, but I don't remember it. But anyways, it meshed the story of the Son of Sam and the riots in New York because they had a blackout and they had riots and looting and they had fires. So it's called the name of the series is called The Bronx is Burning, and some of it's on YouTube. I mean, hell, I'll post a link to the first episode. Most of the episodes are on YouTube, but the sound cuts out on some of them. I thought it was really good, especially if you like baseball and you're an older dude and you remember Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin and the 70s. So yeah, that was like from when I first started buying baseball cards. When I was like 10 years old. I was 10 years old in '77, but I remember the World Series where Reggie Jackson hit 3 homers in a game and all that stuff. And it has the only thing I didn't like about it is I didn't like the guy's performance who played George Steinbrenner. But anyways, then I watched a Billy Martin documentary, and that was also interesting. But yeah, what am I going to do? Talk about TV shows that I watched? I mean, I already told you pretty much that the significant things that happened in the last few days, which was exercise, fishing, bad leg. Now I got a bad neck today, and I got laid flat, and don't even want to watch. I was trying to watch like uplifting comedies and stuff because I'm like, I like my favorite kind of movie is what I call survival horror, which is basically like people are out to kill somebody and they have to fight back. Usually there's some sort of atrocity committed, like a rape, murder, something like that, and then there's somebody being hunted and they have to fight back, or there's some sort of revenge plot or something like that. I was trying to think of the last one that I watched. I was like, oh, that was worth watching. Um, but anyways, that's my like favorite kind of movie, and I'm like, you know what? My mind's kind of in a dark place. I probably shouldn't watch that. So I watched some thing called Our Idiot Brother or something like that, starring a fat Paul Rudd. And who else did it have in it? Elizabeth Banks. Oh, I just got done watching it. It was okay. I liked it. But like I said, what else am I going to talk about? I pretty much covered everything. Like I said, making arrangements for my own demise. I don't have, like, that's a significant. Well, my brother will finally get his house fixed up if I pass. I could put that in my makeshift will. Like, this money is only to be spent on home improvements. He'll, I'll make that in my last will and testament thing to him. It's like, fix your damn shower, you moron. Which I would have done 2 summers ago. And like, I wonder how different my life would be now if he would like, if I would have got out of here like I wanted to. That was before I had the 5 teeth pulled, and before the summer of madness in 2019, where I was dealing with the pocket maniac guy who is the nephew to my foster brother, who eventually ruined my relationship with that whole household. I'm like, I'm done with those people, man. They got too many damned issues. They are too toxic. I can't survive them. It's done. Like, I'm sorry you are who you are, but can't deal with it. Have to. I'm a delicate little flower. I'm not a hardy cactus as I was in my youth. And the rains fall upon the just and the unjust, and the nice and the unnice. And yeah, I can't take those storms y'all be raining on me anymore. I swear to God, shit. Before you got to know me, stuff used to never bother me. Never. And I could put up with all kind of nonsense from people, but I just can't anymore. Um, and like I said, that Johnny Bench is gone. That's that version of Steve is gone, and it's like you wonder, like, what is the point of if you're just a zombie on drugs? It's like I realized this when I was in my 20s, when I was on a tranquilizer called Doxepin, and you know. Anyways, I'll skip what I was gonna say and just like I was just I would sleep. I'd close my eyes and I'd wake up and it'd be 10 hours later. It's like I would sleep like the dead, no dreams, no nothing. But then I would be sleepy. I once slept 17 hours straight on that shit. And like even when I was awake, I was asleep. And I realized like, oh, I'm not really having much of a life, on this stuff. I'm just like, so I stopped taking it. I don't even remember how long I took it, but I stopped taking it. That was the drug I was on when I went to the drugstore, and they gave me a completely wrong medication. And I came back into the drugstore, and I was like, look, man, I don't think these are Doxepin because they're the wrong color and the wrong size. And then the person, like, freaked out for a second and then hid their freaked outness. And I was pretty sure that if I would have took those pills, they would have killed me. Yeah. They were like, oh, I'm glad. They were like, oh, glad you caught that. And then I talked to my sister who was using the same pharmacy, and she's like, I'm pretty sure somebody in there is sampling the supply because they screwed up my prescription before too. I'm like, why are they firing somebody? What the hell's wrong with those people? I'm trying to remember where that drugstore was at. I don't got too long. But yeah, I remember that. I was like, wait a minute. My other pills were like yellow and white. These are red, and they're shaped like a diamond. And my other ones were capsules. These are completely different pills. And yeah. Anyways, so I had stopped being myself before, and I stopped being Johnny Bench in my 20s, and I decided like, oh no no no, I'm gonna have some kind of life and be who I am. And then like, what is kind of the point if you're all wrapped up physically and you're just sitting there like a boy stoned out of your mind, running through old memories in your brain. Oh, that's loud. One more time. Come on, kid. I went off in the distance now. You waited too long. Train. There's 2 trains that went by during the same video. Maybe they run them at night, just you know, just to give lonesome souls that lonesome feeling of a train going by. I don't know. All the lonesome uh, insomniacs out there. Anyways, that's just something I thought of. Is persons retiring from baseball because they can't be who they are anymore. And it's like, why can't you retire from life if you can't be who you are anymore? You can't do the things that you like to do anymore. And my guitar's still set up. I got no urge to play the damn thing. It hurts to sit on that couch because it's pretty damn low. I mean, I like to play the guitar. I still like to write. I wrote something today that was interesting. So I still like to write on the computer, and I still like to play with words and stuff. But even talking, the architecture of my mouth has changed to the point that I could probably talk better if I didn't have a wad of gum in my cheek like Johnny Bench. Uh, but it's even that's not the same. And for a while there, I was going to do like audiobooks, and I found out I really can't do audiobooks either. And I found out that they hire actors for reading fiction for a reason, because you have to believe. You have to like lend belief in voices and stuff to the material to make it interesting. It's like I'm too alienated for that. I'm just like, yeah, this is me reading something that I wrote. It's not like I am this guy. Can't do that. I'm stuck being this guy for the time being, anyway. Yeah. No, I don't know. It's still, I'm still gonna hang in there for a little while, and give the doctors a chance to screw me up worse. I've been waiting for the VPA to call because they send people out here periodically, and I'll complain about my leg again and see what happens. If anything comes of it, probably refer me to another orthopedist that won't call me back. And this time I'll put out a little bit more effort and get rejected in person instead of just assuming rejection. Like, it's weird. You call up the office and you're like, "Yeah, did you get my referral from?" And they're like, "Or who are you?" I'm like, "Well, it's not a prank call. This is so and so. I got a referral from Doctor So and So, and I was wondering if you got that." And they say, "Yeah, we'll call you back after we review your case." Then they call you back and say, "Yeah, we uh, declined to have you as a patient." I've been through that before. Yeah, it's kind of like beg for rejection. That's a little weird. Uh, and even if they can do anything for me, it's going to be just more physical trauma, and I don't have a normal body to recover from things. So, say they do knee replacement on me, it's not going to be. It's going to be a complicated recovery because the other leg don't have a calf muscle. So, yeah, it's a dire situation. I don't care. It's like I look at it this way. I'm already dead, so you know. I was hoping that I could retain the qualities as a ghost. I could retain the qualities of my former self as long as possible. But yeah, that was just a rough fishing trip. It's just like I'm not enjoying this. It's like it's a beautiful day. I'm out here with my friends, watching my brother catch large fish. And oh yeah, my best friend hooked a ridiculously large fish, and I said, "Wait a minute." And I put the scooter on its highest setting and tried to race over there so I could watch him land it because I was supposed to be heading over in that direction because he had to leave early. We had to leave early because he had something to do. And that was one of his last casts. And he's like, "That's the biggest fish I've ever hooked in here." He had a big old bass. And I seen the way he was fighting. I saw the way he was fighting it, trying to keep it from jumping, because once they jump, they can throw the hook and shake their heads back and forth. And he was fighting it. He's like, "I got something heavy on here." And then, like, as I was just riding over toward him, it got its head out of the water, got most of the way out of the water and threw the hook, and kapoosh. And you can tell how big a fish it is by how deep of a sound it makes when it either hits, if you're on the top, or when it on re-entry. You ever hear like a whale come out of the water, and then when it hits, it's not like splash, it's deep. So it's the same thing goes for much smaller aquatic creatures. Uh, eh, it's not really depression. It's just like can't do anything. Can't do anything and you hurt. I mean, it's not really a matter of depression. And as far as like thinking of myself as dead, I don't really have any hopes for any kind of a future. That doesn't mean you. I guess you kind of gotta have hope. You don't really have to have hope to keep trying. Because I don't expect this to work out at all. But that doesn't mean I can't. You know, when I see my doctor, I can't say, look, I got this problem, I got that problem. Can you help me with these things? And it didn't stop me from manipulating my way into steroids. And steroids thing didn't work out, but I knew that was going to be a short-term fix, and that wasn't really going to fix anything. I just didn't know it was not. It lasted months before. It didn't last weeks this time, but it brought the swelling down on my ankle, not even all the way this time. Whereas the last time I took it, it knocked the swelling off of my ankle, and it was months before I had any more swelling in my ankle. So yeah, it's like I had a pretty frank conversation with my brother yesterday. He was talking about like the physical stuff that he had to do, and like cutting the grass is hard and stuff like that. And I was like, let us think about me, because I would love to be able to do some hard physical labor that's unpleasant and makes me sore, instead of just laying there being sore for no reason, bored out of your skull, full of energy. I was full of energy at the time, but I had drunk my morning coffee. That day I think I woke up at 6:30 and called him at like 8 o'clock at night or something like that. Whatever day that, if that was yesterday or the day before, I don't know. It all gets blurred together when your sleep schedule gets messed up. I know tomorrow's Tuesday, and I know that my aid worker is coming over. Though a couple of times here lately, I've got my days mixed up, so I could be wrong about that, but I think I'm right. Uh, I don't. I'll check after the video. It would be a relief if it wasn't tomorrow. Yeah, the cats. I got to lock the cat outside, which was cool. He's shedding like crazy. There's like cat fur all over the all over the place. And last Wednesday, when the aid worker came in, she was like, "Did you kill your cat? What the hell?" I was like, "No, they shed." She was like, "This much?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like 88 degrees outside. That was the day it was went up to 88. Yeah, that was the same day I made the video last Wednesday, or the last video. And it's like, yeah, they shed like crazy when it gets hot. Cause we had like I don't know how many days in a row where it was between 80 and 90 degrees. And they got all that undercoating built up. If you winterize them and keep them outside before winter comes, then I kept them outside all winter. He just looks terribly unhealthy, and I'll try him on the pate food and see how that goes. I've been petting him more. He seems to be liking it and wanting more of it, which it's just annoying to me. I don't really enjoy petting him. I just doesn't do it because he likes it. It's just annoying to me. I don't like it, you know. Um, but he seems to like it, so he finds it reassuring. So usually I just feed him, and if he wants petted, I pet him a couple of times, and then go back in here and shut him out there and leave the window open, let him come and go. No, that's about it. I think I don't think I'm gonna talk anymore because I don't really have anything to say. Uh, I don't feel like going into story mode, and I don't know if I could think up any good stories. And this is in a good position for storytelling. And frankly, I don't know if it's a good position for my neck. I was thinking about like years ago when I went to a chiropractor. Chiropractor. When I went to a chiropractor, well, I had a tumor growing inside me. They tell you to take a rolled up towel and put it underneath your neck if you got like uh, back problems, lay on a firm mattress, or if you got neck problems. So maybe this pillow is cool or something. It hurts. Fucking painful. Yeah. So there's nothing really here but somebody being miserable, but you know, you'll get that from video to video instead of from time to time. No entertaining stories. It is what it is. You go through some. Uh, it's better to actually express whatever misery you got. It's just better to express it, let it breathe, let it live. Whatever things you've been through in the past or are going through in the present, you know, it's. I think it helps just, like I said, as a as an exercise. You know, it exercises your emotions. If you can't exercise your body and just admit how fucked up things are, and you know, sometimes doing this makes me sleepy and it helps me out. It probably doesn't help you out much, but it helps me out. And yeah, obviously with my leg all wrecked up, I haven't felt too ambitious. I've had the card a couple of days and haven't messed with my camera, but hopefully neck thing will get better. The leg thing's already not as painful as it was. It was painful to the point where like, do I, you know, putting off getting up, taking a piss and stuff, hurting so bad. It's really painful to walk on, and it's not like that anymore. So maybe the next thing will straighten around. Maybe the next video I'll have like that camera up and running. That would be cool. But this has been survival mode the last few days, and you know, I don't seem to mind not eating. So I don't know if that's a good way to lose weight because when you don't eat, you get headaches sometimes, or at least I do. So you know, headaches are not good for your morale. And I don't know. That's the only way you can lose weight is to eat less and exercise. That's it. And I was trying to exercise, and my body just decided that they want me to, and so I can do the eat less part anyway. But that's it. I'm shitty. Hope you're doing better than I am, and maybe another train will come by, and I can listen to it and pretend like I'm on it, going to another place, way far, far away from these, from here. Sorry about that. My voice is failing me. Goodbye.